Hi, my name is Bonnie Kolakowski. I'm an instructor at Rio Salado Community College. And this week we're going to be talking about Lesson 2, which is Chapters 3 and 4. In Chapter 3, you learned about key purposes of budgets, the need for more than one type of budget, various ways of classifying expenditures, and the benefits of performance budgets. So the key purpose of budgets are planning, controlling, and administering, as well as reporting and evaluating. So I'm going to touch a little bit about what you learned in chapters 1 and 2. A fund is a separate fiscal and accounting entity. So you learned about the different types of funds that we have. They're self-balancing, and they have their own accounts. They have their own separate books. The key type of funds right now that we've been covering in this chapter are governmental funds. So there's 5 types, and the one type of fund that we're working on in this problem for Lesson 2 is the general fund. And so, as you learned before, the general fund is the, so again, general funds are, there's only one type per government, and they're the most financial transactions related to government operating activities. And that's what's in the general fund. So typically a budget is classified by the fund type, which we talked about, the general fund, the function or program, which is the group of activities carried out with the same objective, or the organization unit, which is the like the police department, the fire department. It's also based upon the activity, like the line of work contributing to a function or program. Example would be like the highway patrol, burglary investigations. Also the character, like the fiscal period presumed to benefit, such as the current period. Also the object is to classify by types of items, purchases, or services obtained, such as salaries, fringe benefits, and travel. So in this problem here that's in your textbook, P3-1 is similar to the one you're working on in your assignment. And you can see that this is estimates for the general fund for Bethany Independent School District. The instructions here tell you to prepare a draft operating budget for Bethany Independent School District for 2018 fiscal year, including the 2017 comparative data and expected change computations. Assume the 2018 appropriations are equal to the 2018 estimated revenues. So you can see that the estimate of the budget revenues were for property taxes $2 million, state aid $1 million, federal grants $500,000, and other $300,000. This is where we were talking about the different type of function or program right here: property taxes, state aid, general grants, and these are the dollar amounts. And then this is the expenditure types, the salaries, utilities, maintenance, capital expenditures, and debt service. So you can see this is what they're expecting the change to be: an increase of 6% for property taxes, 3% for state aid, minus 40,000 on federal grants and plus 10,000. I apologize, I paused the video because I realized I didn't have my spreadsheet open for this particular problem. So when setting up this budget here, basically you're going to have the estimated amount for 2017. You're going to follow what you see in the book and then put the expected information in, and obviously calculate the data needed to get to your 2018 budget. Now there's a number that's not here that you have to figure out on your own. So one of the key things that I want to point out in this particular problem is it says on number 3 here that the fund balance at the end of 2017 is expected to be 1.6 million. At least 1.5 million must be available at the end of 2018 to carry over to help finance the 2019 operations. So if your totals here are supposed to be 1.6 million to be able to carry over, so you want your ending fund balance to be 1.6 million. That's where you're going to have to do some math here in order to get this salary information. So I'll show you on the 2018, the beginning fund balance was the 1.5 million, but your revenues minus your expenses, which is the appropriations, there was a $50,000 difference. So that added to your beginning balance. Now you want the ending balance to be the 1.6 million. So based upon what I just showed you, the revenue minus expenses, what do you think you need to do to come up with this salary information? And then that's also going to help you to be able to answer this part B, what total salaries and wages amount and average percentage increase or decrease are implied in the draft operating budget prepared in part A. What are the maximum salary and wages amounts and percentage increase that deemed to be feasible in 2018? So once you figure out this answer, you will be able to answer part B. I'm going to pause the video so I can pull up the next problem. So the next part of this assignment, problem 2, you're going to choose from one of the following government agencies: City of Phoenix, City of Glendale, or City of Scottsdale. And the questions here are the same questions you see on P-3, where you're going to do some research. So in the beginning of this video, I talked about, identify the government and describe the budget type. So we talked about the general fund, and there's other funds that you learned, such as the special revenue fund. And there's also capital projects funds, debt service funds, and permanent funds. Those are the 5 types of government funds. So you will identify that in one of the cities of your choice. And then you're going to talk about the basis of accounting. Now, typically the general fund has only one type of basis, but some of the other types of funds are a little bit different. So you want to identify that for each fund type. And then you want to talk about the budgetary control points. So if you look at page 83 of your book, and I just copied this from page 83, you will see that it says, it gives an example like agencies or departments to keep their expenditures within limitations imposed by chief executive and demonstrate compliance with those limitations or number 2, chief executive to keep the expenditures of government within limitations imposed by legislative branch and demonstrate such compliance. So, the key thing is to make sure that there's authorizations to expend and that there's limitations. So, what type of controls do you see in the budgets that you are reviewing for the city of your choice? So they should have it listed in their summary on how they control their budgets. And then you're going to talk about the aspect of the budget documents. So the summaries that you read from your city of choice, what were similar to what you read in the chapter, and what was different than what you read on the chapter. So, every agency does things a little bit differently, but all the fund types are the same. So you're going to see a little bit of similarities on how they have their budgets, and then you're going to see differences as well. I'm going to pause this video and go to the next problem. So problem 3 is similar to the Harvey case study that is in your book. Chapter 4 goes into the nitty-gritty on how to record expenses and how to, I apologize, I thought I had open, I do. Bear with me 1 second. So problem 3 here is based on transactions you learned in chapter 4. So the very first part is you're going to download your template. And your template is going to be blank. I already have the answers filled in my sample case here for Harvey City. This is not the same set of numbers that you have for your book. Now, how you get these balances here in these accounts over here in columns B, C, and E are from your trial balance. So you're going to take the information here for Arizona City General Fund trial balance, and you're going to enter them on your template that you've downloaded. So just kind of a reminder of the general fund, specifically that the general fund is a modified accrual basis. So what that means is you're looking at current assets and current liabilities. They don't have any long-term liabilities. All of this is going to be current information that you see here for these specific accounts for the general fund. Then they're going to show you here that their estimated revenues and their estimated appropriations, which are the expenses for the particular categories as the general government, public safety, highways and streets, and so forth. So your first step here is you're going to record the budget. So earlier I mentioned that chapter 4 gets into the nitty-gritty of these expenses. So starting on page 111, that talks about the budget entry, you will see here that it shows you the, it gives you a bunch of estimates. So this is particularly what you've seen over here, right here, your estimates. And then you can see the journal entry here where it talks about the recording of the estimated revenues and the appropriations, and the budgetary fund balance is going to be your plug-in for the difference. So just to give you a little bit of understanding of the spreadsheet, balances go here, all your transactions go over here numbered. Okay, so so to get a better understanding, for example, like let's go over to the Harvey City case study. So this was their trial balance right here, the numbers that I have entered. And this is the estimated revenues and the estimated appropriations. So you can see the total estimate here is $2,032,500. So your first entry that we saw on page 111 is going to be a credit to your estimated revenues. So if you look here, I've got, I'm sorry, I made a debit. I apologize. I said credit by accident because I was reading the page. So your first transaction, number one here, is going to be a debit. So you're gonna do the exact opposite for your estimates, recording the budget. But later on, when you record the actual revenue, that's where your credit is gonna come in. So then you can see appropriations, total here, oops, 1,963,000. So you can see here, 1,963,000. So this is like making a journal entry on this report. So you're gonna have your debits and your credits, and you're just gonna find the accounts that you need to debit and credit. So then you're gonna follow the instructions here that say number 2, re-established encumbrances of 20,000 that were closed at the end of the year. So if you're not quite sure what that means, if you go back to page 111, where are you, 111? Oops, click too much. Let me pause for a second and I'll find the information for you. So page 115, I copied the information here. Encumbrances, it shows you how to record the entry. So what that particularly means is that the Harvey City here, going back to the problem, I apologize. It says here, reestablished encumbrances of 19,000 that were closed at the end of the year. So it means that Harvey City has decided they're going to order goods or services for 19,000. So they want to earmark the potential to spend that 19,000. So when I showed you the entry here a second ago, it shows that you could see that there's a debit to encumbrances and then a credit to outstanding encumbrances. So if you can see, here's my account, transaction number 2, 19,000 for Harvey City, and then here's your credit for outstanding encumbrances. So when the money is actually spent later on, or the purchase is actually made, then there's going to be another entry to move out of the outstanding balances and to be able to record the actual expenditures and the money out of cash if it is a cash transaction. So then the next one says the city levied its general property taxes for for the year of 1,800,000. I can't even talk today. 1,580,000, and the city estimates 30,000 of taxes will approve uncollectible. Record the taxes, assuming the city will collect the remaining later during the fiscal year. So again, governmental accounting is very similar to your regular GAAP accounting, your financial accounting, your for-profit accounting. So in this particular problem, so I had paused the video to bring you back to page 114, where it shows you how to record a property tax levy. So it talks about how to record the receivable amount, what they're anticipating to get, and then the allowance for uncollectible taxes, and the revenues. See, we pause and go back to the next problem. So I brought us back to the spreadsheet here, and you can see where transaction number 3, taxes receivable current, 1,580,000. You can see that part of the transaction recorded there, and then you can see the allowance of 30,000, which the problem said that was uncollectible. And then we will go down to the revenue side, and you can see that they're anticipating this as revenue. So all of these transactions examples are listed in your textbook. I'm not going to go over each and every one of them. Like I said, they're pretty close to what you see in GAAP accounting. This type of workbook is a little bit different. This is a different way to present your journal entries. The reason for this particular format is to be able to get to your balances at the end of the year, to be able to produce financial statements. This is a little bit of a test for this problem. We're not getting into the financial statements until you get to lesson 3, which you'll start moving into preparing those. Right now we're just getting you used to this workbook type function to help you be able to get the balance of your accounts and plugging in the appropriate journal entries. If you have any questions on the material or how to make any journal entries, reach out to your instructor or the tutoring center. Have a nice day.